Welcome to this beautiful webinar on amplifying impact and influence. My tribe really are powerful forces for good in the world. We have suffered, we have endured adversity and challenges in a way that forced us to acquire the skills, the steps, the modalities, the presence or the capacity to create a change. We're all here to create a change. But the challenge is, how do we allow who we are to extend and expand beyond what it has been before? And we're going to be talking about that by creating content that attracts our tribe. Welcome everyone that's coming in just now. I'm just going to keep everyone on mute, and we're going to have 30 minutes of training, and then we're going to have 30 minutes of Q&A at the end. For those of you just arriving, I really want you to go ahead over to the comment section, and I want you to read through. I've asked everyone to share what is their genuine desire and reason for wanting more impact and influence. I'm going to read another one here. I'll keep the name anonymous. I want to bring truth across to the world, to have others express their truth, to create a space of freedom. Beautiful. Another one, to master my true self-expression and feel free to express this to my kindred tribe. Beautiful. You can hear the nuances in everyone's different stories. I think for me, I didn't know how important it was for me to be influential when I started. And we're going to look at the 3 steps. Why I love teaching how to curate content that attracts our tribe was this was the process that I used to become fully booked initially. We do not have to, like I did my own graphics, I did my own copy, I did my own website copy. I invested in a website. That was about one of my only initial investments in my business. And even now, with people who are new to business, expanding their business or re-niching their business, our copy is the most powerful way to cost-effectively reach our tribe and make a really sacred connection with them in a way that transforms us and them. So we're going to be talking about strategies, and we're going to start with these 3 steps: rewind, promise, and reveal. I'm going to show you, this is my content book. Anna Linda will notice this because it's a gift from her, and I love it. It's like unfurling. I literally have a book, and I'm going to show you how messy this book is. It is messy. I've got things stapled in. My daughter's drawn in it. Okay, this doesn't need to be pretty, but when you get an idea in your mind, it's really important to get that content idea down so that when you need copy, you can just grab the copybook and there'll be gold just waiting there for you. So I keep this on my desk right where I'm working so that any flashes of inspiration, I can just record them down straight away. Another thing that I do is that every Friday I really reflect on my week, and the most powerful content you will ever find comes from your own personal growth and your own client appointments. So I'm making even half an hour to jot down ideas at the end of the week. Not only does this capture value from all of your work in that week, but it literally will get it out of your head, heart, and body, which is why I love doing it. If I don't get that information out of my body, I may carry that into my weekend and not get downtime, which many of you will know. I also do, I will tell you, a Friday night scrub down where I literally get into a big bath and I scrub my skin down after I've written down my copy. And this is really a great way to be capturing content and copy every week. And then you can sift through later on and see what's most appropriate. Listening to your current clients is the #1 best place for your copy. Whether these are pro bonos, whether you're doing it for a friend, whether this is your newest client or a mature client experience, when you're engaging with a client and you're listening to their query, question, concern, it's going to jog your memory. One of the biggest problems for all of us, hands up if you like to grow and progress as an individual. Now, this is because you're my tribe, and I love you all so much, because we are evolving. And what happens is we are evolving so fast, we forget where we've come from. And it's very, very important that we need to be able to have copy that reaches the kindred tribe that are where we once were. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a story, and this was a great experience for me because I really always wanted to share my latest unfurling with my clients. And what I realized was that I really needed to segregate what I spoke about on social media to make space for me as an individual to unfurl, so that my personal growth wasn't so infused in my content, so that it could speak directly to this particular tribe in a particular stage of growth. All of us think that there's so much further for us to grow. Raise your hand if you ever feel like there is so much further for you to go professionally and personally. Okay, I feel this way too. I want you to remember that if you could have a sacred date with the beautiful you from 10 years ago, and she could take you out for dinner, and she got to see who you are now, what you've accomplished, who you've become, she would absolutely kiss your hand, pay for your dinner, and gush profusely at you. This is one of the ways that I help myself remember that I always have further to go, but how far I have come is already so immensely profound. Finding true love, creating a family that adores me, moving to the country, creating an organic business that fulfills me. These were all once dreams. Living in my own home, this was once a dream. And now I'm sitting on it. I'm like, but now I want to do this. I want 10,000 in my following. And I remember when all I wanted last year was 1,000 following on every platform. Nailed that in March, and I'm like, it is on to 10,000 for my following. And I just think it's so funny that if we can hold ourselves in compassion, that we're always spiraling and growing. But remember, your beautiful kindreds are here. You're here, and only speak to the challenges of where they are. Okay, I hope that makes sense for everyone. The second one is to make sure you're making promises. Now, this is really interesting because my whole tribe are loyal. They have high integrity and they love keeping promises. One of the big problems with marketing you'll find is that some people make false promises, get rich quick schemes, or some people fail to make any promises. You're releasing copy, but you're not actually assuring your kindred that there's anything new available to them. One of the reasons why I wanted to share how to amplify your impact and influence is that I've been playing with the strategies I'm going to be teaching tonight myself for 6 years and professionally for 3 years with my business mentoring clients. I know this stuff works, and so it's really important that you need something sure, reliable, and realistic that you can offer as a promise. How can you simplify an experience for your client? How can you promise them a certain emotional outcome? How can you promise them a certain degree of transformation? Okay, I can see people here from the bookkeeping world. I see healers. I see people in the visual arts. I see people who are life coaches. And what you need to do is make sure that you need to have some kind of a promise. So I promised you all tonight that we would find how to amplify your impact and influence. Now, let me tell you what happened in your mind is when you saw that opportunity, you thought, one, can Lysa Black deliver? And hopefully you felt I could, which is why I think you're here. Two, you're like, is that important to me? You have all sacrificed your precious time in order to show up. Your kindreds want to know what's important that you can offer them that is worth them sacrificing their time and energy for, right? This isn't even at a cost, right? This is an introduction. But what's great is that this is still asking you to sacrifice your time and your space. So really think about what promise can you make? We don't want to make false promises, but we don't want to make no promise at all. It needs to be compelling and attractive. Last one is reveal. A lot of the concerns that I hear is that if we reveal all of our most precious, most sacred copy, content, strategies, tips, and know-how, why on earth would people hire us? Why on earth would people, right, come and work with us? And one of the big secrets is that 10 years ago, people were paying for information. 10 years ago, people paid to learn something. Now, people pay to apply something. And there's a very big difference, okay? As I'm going along, if you have any questions, please do go ahead and type them in as we go. Really, really important that if you don't reveal, right, make a promise and deliver on that promise, You might think that if I give it all away, no one's going to hire me. But the truth is, no one knows why you're worth hiring until they know what you've done, what you've accomplished, and what you know. So what you're really doing with your content is you're introducing them to the possibility. Now, who here has had a life-changing transformation from reading a book? 2 hands. Okay? We are a very narrow band of humanity. If you are making massive change from a book, let me assure you, you are very, very rare. A lot of people don't get through books. A lot of people don't apply the principles in books. Now, the reason why you're my tribe is that we love integrating information, and we love changing, and we love growing, and we love learning, okay? But I want you to understand that it's about 10% of the population. If you've heard of the bell curve with early adopters, and then the majority of the population, and then we've got what are called late adopters. We are all early adopters. We're like, has Brene Brown released a new book? Right? We're into it. And then we're making a shift the next week. Now, this is why you are all leaders. You are recognizing what's wise, you're integrating it, right, and living it in your own lives. You're very, very rare. And you are all here to facilitate change and transformation in your kindreds, because they need a little bit more time, a bit more help, and definitely your loving guidance. Okay? So, with the reveal, okay, so we want to rewind and go back to the places where we can access that great content and store it away like it's a little gold mine. Then we want to make a promise, like I have tonight, amplify your impact and influence. I was very confident in making that promise to you. And then reveal. I want you to tell it as you know it and use your words. If you're having trouble writing an article or doing a video, don't get caught in your head. Talk as though you're speaking with a friend and use your language. I use words that don't resonate for everyone. I use forms of expression that are very uniquely me. It's really important that we don't get caught up in the best way to share anything. Just share it out of your soul. Share it from who you are with the words you use, and that's all your kindreds need. So that's some baseline how to create that content. But I'm going to now go into the 3 principles of how you're going to craft that content to be most powerful. So let's read 2 more reasons why people are here and why it's so important to amplify the impact and influence. Someone has said to make the world a more open space related so that her daughter and other sensitive people can profit from it. Beautiful. To bring others to the true essence of themselves and their gifts that they have brought with them to express in the world this time. Beautiful. Don't you all hear that and go, I want that person to do that more, bigger. It's like, yes. So everyone has heard Lysa riff on tribe alignment. This is not a new concept, but I wanted to tell you a story. And I was once asked to speak at an alopecia conference. And if you're not familiar with alopecia, it's a very rare condition in where partial or complete hair loss unfolds for men and women. Majority of the people, there was 300 women, it was probably only 10% men and just a few children. I was sitting in front of a room of women that were either bald or had wigs on. Now, I could relate to them. I had love for them. Did I have alopecia? Have I ever struggled with hair loss? No. Did that prevent them from hearing my message? Yes. I had some really valuable contributions to make. I carefully planned my talk. I got up in front of them and I loved them, and they looked at me with my full head of hair. And they were like, who is this woman with this hair talking to us about self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, right? It's really, really important to understand that anyone who is not in your kindred can't hear you. And they're going to resent you. They're going to feel annoyed at you, right? Because so often when we're trying to create content, we are so cautious about offending people. Now, you all know my story. I offended my birth family. I was born offending people without even trying. And so one of the most powerful things that we really need to accept is that if we're not willing to devote ourselves just to the people who are like us, we're going to face rejection. And we're going to face a huge concern with people judging us and not receiving us. I go, that's a replay of our past. right? So with tribe alignment, I'm going to tell you 3 of the most powerful words that I think when I think of all of you, because you are all my tribe. I think ever growing. I think loyal. Oh, ever growing, loyal. So many things. Integrity. When I go, every one of you, I know you all very well. And the fact that you are all ever growing is what makes me adore you. The fact that you are all loyal, okay, really makes my heart swoon. And integrity. Now, would we be this connected if you didn't know that I was always growing, that I'm loyal, and that I have integrity? Okay. I want you to think about the friends that you surround yourself with. It's easier to see in our friends. Describe 3 traits of your closest inner circle and pop them into a comment. And I want to hear you describe, these are your tribe, 3 words. I've got a great question here. What do you mean by people now are paying to apply something, not paying for info? Great. While you're thinking about those 3 aspects of your friends, I want you to, I'll talk into this to answer that question. One of the big changes in the last 10 years is YouTube has honestly changed the world. If you haven't heard, there are prolific creators who are releasing videos, kind of 2 videos a day, a video every day. Some of the top gamers in the world are playing games for 10 hours every 24 hours. This is the time of the most prolific content generation. If anyone knows how big servers are, they're having to make more servers every year to hold the level of information that humanity is dumping on the internet. Remember, when I was a child, I used to play in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Who had an Encyclopedia Britannica? And I used to live in them. They were one of the sole sources of knowledge and information in our homes. Now, we just have our phone. We can ask Google anything at any time. So, humans today in 2019 are bombarded with information on every social media platform, newspapers, and what that means is that there are 1,000 free videos on how to amplify impact and influence. There's probably millions, okay? But you're not going to seek after that information from someone you don't feel a connection with. The reason why you're all here tonight is that we have a connection. We trust one another, we love each other, and that's what makes it easier to receive information from me, because we have that beautiful knowing. So the truth is that back, 10 years ago, people used to pay to learn something. There's so much free content, free courses. If you know about Udemy is an online courses service, and they're getting so many suppliers. There's so much information out there, okay? And so what people want now is they want something that's organized. So if anyone had my Chariot's Quest map, it's very organized, it's pretty, it's simple, and it's punchy and really effective. So that's a way that I've served my market. There'll be loads of free resources, but they've chosen mine because it's nice and organized. They want someone they can connect with, and they want a safe place to apply. They say that the gap between knowledge and wisdom is application. And there's a lot of people that know stuff that are not living it. And all I care about in my own life and my business is applied information, because that's the only time it can support us. For that person that asked that question, does that resonate for you? Has that explained it, sweetheart? So let's listen to some of these. These are tribees, okay? So we've got one lady, they're genuine, passionate, and inspiring. If that person wrote or curated content from a non-passionate place, is she going to reach her tribe? No. Let's look at the next one. Someone else has put loving, accepting, and supportive. If that person made a post on social media that was judgmental, what's that going to do to her reputation? Right? I hope this is making the point. So another person has said, loyal, good listeners, non-judgmental. So when she writes and expresses either a blog, video content, Instagram post, Facebook post, and she shows that she's a good listener and that she's open-minded, right, and loyal. What that means is that there's a magnetic connection between people who are like that and her. So if anyone's ever seen my copy and I'm like, soul twirls, and I'm like, exuberant waves, like this is who I am, okay? And when I do that, I'm repelling everyone who can't handle that because that's all I got, right? If that's going to tick them off, then they better just head west now because that's all I'm bringing. I am very loving. I'm very affirmatory. You all know that I love giving affirmation. And so when I'm like this, it literally irritates the people who hate affirmation and hate exuberance. And what's great for me is they're not my tribe. So if you've ever been worried about writing something that's kind of gonna annoy someone or upset someone, just immerse it with so much of your personality, they'll leave in the first 3 lines and they won't even reach it to what you're trying to say. Does that make sense? And that's often why I hit people with my personality in the first 3 lines. And then I go, da-da-dum, da-dum-da, and I make these really big statements, right, from my gut. And I did this last night because I wanted to role model this. And I know a few of you commented on that post. And I spoke about how we stay small because we don't want to annoy anyone. But that also means that we never take a stand to make a difference. And I don't want to be like that in this world. And then all my tribe are like, yeah, yeah, right? And then nobody said, well, who do you think you are, Lysa Black? That comment did not come forward, okay? Because I irritated them sufficiently in the first 3 lines, right? So please, irritate everyone in the first 3 lines and then make your beautiful points. It's really going to get you there. So I want you to make sure that you're writing down these 3 words because your tribe needs you to be loyal, compassionate, and protective, or open, reflective, and loving, or deep, courageous, and faithful. The person who wrote that, whenever she shares content and it's so deep, it makes me feel at home because some people's superficial posts tick me off, right? And I know a lot of you love depth as well. So, point made, that person has said, thank you, makes sense. Wonderful. So, I've already made my second point, but I can't emphasize enough repelling to attract. What makes you lovable and magnetic is the exact same reason why you tick certain people off. You agitate them, you annoy them, they see you coming and you head the other way. My favorite time that I explored this was I was invited to Auckland to be a guest speaker, and there was going to be 300 people at this event. At that time in my life, that was the biggest amount of people that I'd spoken to. And they had networking first and then we would speak. But what would happen was everyone was mingling and like, you know, the drinking of the drinks and the eating of the food. I can't do that before I'm going to speak. I'm not a good socializer with like, how are you? Oh, your dress looks amazing. I just can't do it. So I thought I'll linger back. I thought, go on, Lysa, you're going to talk after. Go and meet people. So I walked into this sea of people and people saw me coming and they moved. And it was kind of like a shoal of fish, you know, when you see them when, like the shark's coming. I just referred to myself as a shark. Anyway, the shark's coming and the shoal of fish kind of move and ebb, right, and evade the shark's presence. That's okay. I will accept I'm synonymously using the representation of shark energy to reflect my energy. I'll accept that. But what I found so interesting is that very same night when I got up on stage, I used that story from just half an hour early to teach the point that we need to repel in order to attract. Now, here's what happened. There were 3 speakers. I was just a helper. There was another lady who was the main lady. When I finished talking, because I was so vulnerable and I was so raw and I made fun of my sharkiness, I had a lineup of people. There were 10 people lining up, waiting to hug me, waiting to ask to work with me. Now, that sealed the deal for me, right? There were 300 people, but 10 of them adored me and came up to me and said, oh, that always happens to me at networking events. Thank you so much for telling me that that happened to you as well. And thank you for showing me that that's a good thing. So, who here has ticked off, annoyed, or irritated the odd person from time to time? Raise of hands. You're my people, right? Because this is what we do naturally. I want you to be who you are and turn it up a bit. When you turn it up a bit, There are people here tonight, and I adore every one of you. One of you is so bright and so sunshiny that she has told me that that irritates people. That is the exact reason why I love her. Okay, so remember, who you are is amazing. Turn it up a bit, move them away, and then really deliver your heartfelt message. Okay, the third point is authentic leadership. And one of the big problems with the modern world is that there are bulimic PT trainers, there are P-addicted general practitioners, there are psychologists and counselors who have hideous romantic relationships. Now, for some reason in my life, these people come to me and they tell me. And so I'm not talking about, oh, I think that there's a level of incongruence or lack of integrity within some professionals. I'm going, I've listened to hundreds of people, and some of them have worked with me, some of them haven't, but people tend to confide things in me. And what I want to let you know is that if you are living what you are preaching, you are absolutely creme de la creme in a very rare portion of humanity. Okay? So it's really, really important to do your best to live what you teach. Hold yourself in compassion and keep aiming high. Okay? Sometimes I go, gosh, I could do better at doing what I teach and preach to my clients, and so I do. Okay? I do my personal best. I'm not perfect at it, for sure. But remember that there are people out there outrightly deceiving people, swindling people's sacred money, and scamming people. Okay, promising them things that they don't deliver in. So it's really, really important to understand it. If you are genuinely seeing transformation in your clients, you know that what you're teaching truly creates powerful change, then I want you to tell people about that. Okay? Because nothing aggravates me more than big, hollow businesses that don't care about the end user, the end client, or the end customer, who gets irritated by people taking people's money and not truly serving them. Right? I can't stand it. And so you beautiful souls are just remarkable, and I want you to let yourself share even more, because there's people out there blitzing campaigns, putting millions of dollars into promoting their ideas, and they don't even really care, and they may not actually be effective. Okay? So, I've got 4 minutes. I think one of the biggest things that has convinced me that being more of who I am in the world is advantageous is that in my first book was when I really registered that this works. This was 2014. I released my heart healing book on Valentine's Day, and in it I shared experiences like my first miscarriage. I shared experiences like not feeling like I had a loving, nurturing relationship with my mum. What happened was people would reach out to me and they would ask to work with me, and then they would proceed to tell me that my expression of my miscarriage allowed them to process their miscarriage in a new way. And I got so many miscarriage stories, I can't even tell you. My life, when I go to my shows, one of my last shows in Tauranga, right? I think a couple of you were there, I can see. No, 2 of you were there. 3 of you were there, yay. And a lady from the audience, she said to me, how did you ever heal the relationship with your mother? She said, have you repaired that relationship? And I could put my hand in my heart and say, I now hold my mother in acceptance. And after such a long time of not feeling loved by her, I can recognize her form of love and I can take it in, but I don't turn to her when I'm vulnerable, when I need nurturing, because she's not in a place to give that to me. And I've made peace with that. And when I could relay that to a member of the audience, it just meant so much to me that they had hope that even though they didn't have a good relationship with their mother, 1, they weren't alone, 2, it's not final, okay? And 3, there's things that you can do with yourself outside of your relationship with your mum that can improve that situation for you. So the thing for me is helping people. If I can share more and be more clear and precise when I show up, I know that I will reach people in a way that I couldn't if I stayed quiet. And that's one of the big reasons why I can sit with some people leaving and walking away. I've lost 5 friends over the last 5 years. That's not many, I've gained a heck of a lot more friends than the ones that I lost, and it was just not time for them to stay with me. My last message and invitation for you all is that it's very risky and scary to share who you really are, to share your sacred wisdom, to share the things that you know work. And one of the things that I want you to be aware of is that sometimes influencers want their audience to fulfill their needs. For example, when I started sharing on social media, I would need people to like my message, my comment, my share. I needed people to comment and tell me that it was valuable. I needed to get that engagement. And one of the things I've really trained myself to do is that if I want to be a leader and I'm here to make important messages and share what I know to be true, I need to make sure that my personal needs for acceptance and nurture and love are fulfilled through my friends, my family, and the professional support that I invest in, whether that's a coach or a mentor. I have somebody now who, when my stuff comes up, she can compassionately listen to me and hold safe space for me so I can be brave and bold on social media and not give a toss what people think. I love saying toss. So here we come to the Q&A, which means I'm going to finish up this recording. I hold my hand on my heart, and I want you to know that who you are in the world has positively influenced me. I am touched and blessed by who you are, and I hope that you can turn it up, okay, raise the volume, and be willing to share who you are with others is my hope and wish.